Hola a todos, welcome back to our channel. My name is Mariana with Spanish 55, and in today's video, we're going to break down some of the most common grammar mistakes made by Spanish learners. So let's get right into it. First of all, it's really important that if you're a native English speaker, you take into account that English and Spanish come from different language families. Therefore, the grammar structures will be different, and it's perfectly normal to make any or all of the mistakes that I'm about to mention. Let's begin with the most basic one, confusing ser and estar. This is a pretty common mistake amongst Spanish learners, since these two verbs mean the same. They're the verb to be, but they're used for different purposes. So let me show you how they work. So we basically use the verb ser for permanent things or things that can't be changed easily, such as identity, inherent qualities of the subject or the object, nationality, origin, or technically anything that can't be changed easily, something that's natural to the person or thing. And on the other hand, we use the verb estar for temporary states or temporary things, such as emotional states, temporary states, or even locations. So let me show you an example. Soy Mariana y estoy entretenida porque estoy grabando un video para ustedes. So here, I use the verb ser in the first part of the sentence, soy Mariana, because that's who I am and that cannot be changed easily, right? And on the second part, I use the verb estar because I mentioned a temporary emotional state. Estoy entretenida. So I was talking about how I'm feeling, and that can change easily. It's a temporary state, therefore, I'm using the verb estar. Now, let's check another common mistake, misusing the gender in Spanish, masculine versus feminine. Spanish nouns have genders, and it's really important that you match the article and the adjectives to the gender of that noun. Now, this is quite tricky, guys. I'm being honest with you. It's kind of tricky because in Spanish, we don't have a set of rules to identify the gender of nouns. But there are some hints that I'm going to share with you so you can start identifying them in a easier way. Nouns ending in O, for example, niño or libro, ma, such as problema or sistema, R, such as color or doctor, and L, such as animal or hotel, will be masculine most of the times. And on the other hand, most words ending in A, such as niña or casa, dad or dad, such as ciudad or amistad, ción or sion, such as comunicación or expresión, IE, such as serie, and V, such as nube, or hombre, as in costumbre, will be feminine. Of course, you need to take into account that there are some exceptions. But if you take these tricks into account, it will be way easier for you to start understanding the gender or to use it correctly in your speech. So now let me share an example with you. Fui a la casa de la vecina y el perro que tiene estaba durmiendo. So here I added the feminine article la for the words vecina and casa, which are feminine nouns ending in a, and I added the masculine article el to the word perro, which is a masculine noun which ends in o. Let's move on to the third mistake, misplacing adjectives in sentences. In Spanish, adjectives will usually follow the noun that they describe. For example, la taza roja, the red cup, or el árbol grande, the big tree. So it's really important that you place the adjectives in the right place so that you don't create sentences that sound kind of odd. Because you can add them in a different position, but that would sound a bit weird. Now, let's check the fourth one, misusing por and para. So essentially, these two words mean the same thing in English, for. But in order to avoid misusing them in Spanish, it's really important to take into account the fact that they're used for different purposes. So we use por when we want to talk about reasons or causes, and we use para when we want to talk about recipients or purposes. So let me show you an example. No pude ir a clase por motivos de salud, pero avísame si puedo ir mañana para organizar mis tiempos. In this example, I use the word por to indicate the reason for not attending and para to indicate the purpose or the need to know if I can attend tomorrow's class. By the way, if you want to know more, you can check out this video that I made that talks a bit more about that topic. And now, let's move on to the fifth one, misusing the subjunctive mood. The subjunctive mood in Spanish is used to express wishes, doubts, or hypothetical situations, and it's really important to note that there's a specific verbal mood for that. So, if you want to create a sentence in the subjunctive mood, then you can't use the indicative mood, because that would make your construction a bit weird. So, let me break this down a bit for you. So, in the sentence, espero que los Rolling Stones vengan a México el próximo año, I hope that the Rolling Stones come to Mexico next year, I'm using the subjunctive mood for the verb venir because I'm expressing a deep wish or a deep hope that I have. So, I need to use the subjunctive mood for that verb, venir. And that wish also is preceded by the expression espero que, which means I hope that. So in this case, I took into account the meaning behind the phrase because I'm not saying that the Rolling Stones are coming to Mexico next year, which would be great, but I'm expressing like that wish, like that hope that they come next year. If I wanted to say that they're coming to Mexico next year, then I would have used the indicative mood. Los Rolling Stones vendrán a México el próximo año. Can you see the difference? So just to finish this segment off, I'm going to show you like the mistake that it's like super common. Espero que los Rolling Stones vendrán a México el próximo año. That would be incorrect because you're kind of mixing up the moods, like the verbal moods. You're starting your sentence in the subjunctive mood, and then you're adding another verb in the indicative mood. Then they kind of crash between each other. Then that's the reason why that doesn't make sense. So now I'm going to share like a really quick story. I've been a teacher for a very long time, and I've had many students who have taken Spanish lessons with me. But well, anytime that I think about the subjunctive mood, a specific student pops into my head. Like I can see his face anytime that I think about the subjunctive mood. Because long story short, he was like a super dedicated student. He was taking 3 lessons a week and he was studying really hard. Like after class, he would just like take his list of verbs and just like check like maybe 10 a day, something like that. He was like super dedicated, and maybe he was close to the point of obsession with Spanish because he was like super passionate, and I really admire him for that. If you're watching this, please do know that I admire you because of your dedication. But well, he got like super frustrated with the subjunctive mood. Like I remember that he couldn't quite understand how it worked until I told him like, hey, you need to think about the differences, like the social differences or like the cultural differences between languages. Because us Spanish-speaking people, we wish for things in a different way than you American people. And he was like, man, that's deep. And I was like, yeah, maybe, I don't know if it's deep, but if it works, it worked because he kind of understood how that actually worked. It took him like a while, to be honest. Like, I'm not going to say that well, this is like a success story and I'm the best teacher ever, because I'm not, but it's like quite an achievement. Like the fact that he could understand how the subjunctive mood works, because he was making like basic mistakes, such as writing like in an email, espero que tendrás un buen día. And well, it took him a while. He was studying like a list of verbs that he had, and yeah, like in a couple weeks, he was finally able to send me an email saying, espero que tengas un buen fin de semana. So I'm really proud of him. And well, if you're in that situation that you're making the same mistake over and over and over again, don't get frustrated on yourself. Just be kind to yourself and really understand that making mistakes is an essential part of the learning process. So take it easy, just continue learning and don't give up. So now let's check your knowledge on some of the things that I mentioned today. I'm going to mention a sentence in Spanish, and you have to identify whether that sentence is correct or incorrect. Ready? Uno, soy en casa. Dos, espero que tienes un buen día. Tres, estudio español para conseguir mejores oportunidades de trabajo. 4. Tengo una grande casa. 5. Estoy muy feliz. Did you get them right? Let us know in the comment section. So now, just to finish this video off, let's have a quick recap about the aspects that I mentioned today. Remember that in Spanish, we use the verb ser for permanent things and estar for temporary things. Also, remember that most words ending in A will be feminine and most words ending in O will be masculine. And you have to use the right articles for masculine and feminine nouns. Remember as well that adjectives in Spanish are usually placed after the noun. And also remember that we use the word para to indicate a purpose and por to indicate a reason. And last but not least, remember that we use the subjunctive mood in Spanish to express a hope, a wish, or a hypothetical situation, and that it's really important that you match the verbal mood to the rest of the sentence. And that was basically it for today. If you like this video, make sure to show it by clicking on that like button and subscribing to our channel. And also, if you're interested in leveling up your Spanish learning journey, make sure to check out our website to start taking Spanish lessons with one of our amazing certified native Spanish-speaking teachers.
Hey there! Are you on the road to conquer Spanish? Then you won't want to miss our brand new podcast, Conquering Spanish, brought to you by Spanish 55. In each episode, we dive into inspiring stories from language learners just like you. We share real-life experiences, tips, and strategies to help you along your own Spanish journey. You'll hear from guests who faced challenges, celebrated wins, and used Spanish to transform their lives, whether in their careers, travels, or personal growth. So, if you're ready to keep improving your Spanish and get inspired along the way, make sure to check out Conquering Spanish wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe, and let's continue conquering Spanish together.